Welcome. Hey, it's the Fort Worth Playboy.
Hi, Playboys Bunny.
Welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, game, relationships, and
sex.
And today we're going to talk about it sounds like two topics. It's one topic combined. How to deal with boss babes and women in business.
Yeah.
And the boss babe phenomenon, what do you think? 20
What,
years, maybe 10 years old?
Maybe. Yeah.
You never really heard about it. First, women came into the workforce in truly like kind of in the 70s and 80s where they went beyond teacher, secretary, nurse.
I would say in the 80s they tried to start getting the corner office.
Yeah, exactly. And there were,
power suits and power offices.
That's how old I am. Is that I remember when women working in the 80s, it was still relatively new to see a girl like in banking.
It was a big deal if she was earning six figures.
You would still see articles in the paper where like first female police officer in Dallas, or mean, it was still very unusual that that you saw them out, and that, which is crazy how recent that was, and now you think nothing of it.
Sure.
They're integrated.
But we also forget 1980. What was that? 40 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, because when I think of like 85, but it's complete. I mean, and all the way up to that point, women had been women worked. Make no mistake. When people talk about women staying at home, that was upper middle class.
Sure.
Women still, they, like I said, nursing, LVN, all teachers, yeah.
Maids, housekeeping, like cashier at grocery store, that kind of clerks, secretaries, receptionists.
Yeah, everything front desk.
Yeah.
But that was a different time. Then they started getting in, and then they started, I don't know enough about, why they integrated so many, into like, what would you say, into executive positions.
Right.
Because again, right now when girls like are beating the drum to get into the workplace, they don't mean like construction.
No.
Or laying asphalt or roofing.
Waste management.
Oil and gas.
No. None of the unsexy things that only men do.
Exactly. Or it won't get done.
It won't get done. No. Because women operate under want to, not have to.
So dealing with boss babes, and I've dealt with that, when I was dating a lot, like girls that were entrepreneurial in spirit.
Yeah.
Whether they actually made their money from that or not was always questionable. But I tend to avoid or change the subject.
Sure.
With any females that were either attorneys or entrepreneurial or very hard charging corporate types will tend to like get, for lack of a better phrase, get hand over you with their position.
Right.
So you downplay it and you say, I thought you worked at Hooters.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of disappointed, but we won't hold that against you.
That's perfect.
You just want to move on.
And
in man world, a girl who's a waitress and is 23 and cute has more power.
Yes.
Or what would you say?
Is
rank.
More alpha female.
Yeah, has more rank than a 35-year-old attorney.
Right.
Who's a 5.
Yeah.
So, you have to. I would say with boss babes, and they're gonna like try to leverage it, ignore it, and pivot. Basically, treat it like a shit test. Agree and amplify, and then put it on the back burner. Because it's not going to matter. Once a girl kind of like sees you as a romantic or a guy she's interested in, all their career stuff starts moving to the back. You won't even know she has a job, But the second part of this is women in business. And something that I've noticed, and when people are honest about it, I've never seen a woman in business that's actually any of her success is her.
No.
Like, there's always a father, a mentor, a guidance, a person pulling her up from a male, not just, it's all male, There's a male involved. A perfect example is this lately, the Theranos, where the little Stanford dropout blonde was the face of the corporation, but her Indian boyfriend was really running the show.
Exactly.
Anybody with half a brain would look at a blonde Stanford dropout. One, she has no connections. Somebody was helping her along. And no magazine or news article or 60 Minutes wants to talk to another Indian middle-aged man.
Right.
About his success in business. And he doesn't want to be up front either, because, investors are like, oh, God, not another one, But a blonde who's 23, that's a different story.
Right.
But so they both get to go to jail now, because of their decisions. But you will always, once you ferret it out, there's a guy giving cash, giving influence, giving guidance, controlling the picture from behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
I mean, in our neighborhood, we have a couple. You don't see them as much as what we call vanity businesses. Usually a yoga studio or some art places.
I was going to say art galleries and studios, little coffee shops even.
Anything that the owner can leave for a long time.
Yeah.
Will usually be female owned, but the husband is paying for it at a loss, or maybe they own the building. Usually once you kind of dig into it, there's more to the picture. And when I did consulting for fitness businesses, I never dealt with a single, and there's a lot of women in fitness businesses. And none of them are in that alone.
Yeah.
The ones that don't do well and they get out.
Right.
That's what I noticed. And they actually become like business coaches.
And the vanity businesses are very rarely actually profitable. They're actually more a tax write-off and for him or for the family.
Yeah.
And to keep her occupied.
Exactly. It keeps her from shopping constantly. I mean,
it gives her a way to shop so that she can shop professionally and not.
Yeah. She can build out the yoga studio and buy new mats and come in 1 hour a day if she's not busy. Because a lot of them, I mean, he's got to keep her busy when she's not with the kids. And then once the kids get like into high school, then, an idle woman is trouble.
That's right.
An idle woman with money is even more trouble.
Absolutely.
So that's the deal with Boss Babes, women in business. And I respect, like, a lot of guys will be like, well, I knew this girl. And there's a lot of stories out there about women being successful. But once you dig into it, really do any of the background, you'll inevitably find a guy guiding, running the show, troubleshooting. It's very rare. Very rare.
You're right.
That's the real deal. So what would you suggest? How does a guy balance? Think you're more ambitious business-wise than the average girl.
I also am an only child whose professional father, very much mentored me in business, but at the same time making very clear that your first job as a female is to be a mother.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel like I'm no exception to this rule in that, yes, I have business, drive, shall we say, but at the same time, the family is first. And I'm driven by my father's teaching. I'm driven by you. So there's certainly a lot of influence. And
I would say guilt is the primary emotion for moms.
Oh, absolutely.
As soon as she finds out she pees on the stick and it changes, she starts feeling guilty that she didn't pee on the stick the day before. And then guilt starts. I mean, you talk to any mom And if they honestly, yeah, I feel guilty about going to work. I feel guilty about not going to work. I feel guilty about spending too much time. I feel guilty about not spending enough time. And this could all be within 15 minutes.
Constant.
So, yeah. But a lot of girls, and this is a thing that guys, and I even forget this, is once they kind of are all driving or they're all into school, you have a little bit more free time. Because we always think of like moms as like when they have toddlers. And everybody's at home, and it's a long day, About when do they come out of the nest enough that moms can kind of like think about other things?
I would say, depending on how active they are in high school, because you can have kids who are driving who aren't all that active in extracurriculars and sports and things of that nature. Maybe they go to work after school instead, where they get quite independent very quickly.
Interesting.
But if you've got an athlete, if you've got, a smarter kid who's in a lot of like academic events, if you've got a theater kid or a music kid who's involved in a lot of those kinds of events, inevitably it's no different than going to a basketball game every other night. Like, you've always got something to attend. So you're still being pulled. You're being pulled with the band boosters, the PTA, the, making costumes, helping load trucks, whatever the thing is, making snacks for the trip.
It's full time.
It's full time. It's raising money.
I've seen like parents that have kids in travel sports.
Oh, yeah.
But literally the day that their last game, and then they graduate high school, it's over.
Yeah.
It's completely over.
Well, that's my point, is the kids that are busy, that aren't getting jobs and going to work, that they're busy during high school, it's not until they go off to college,
right?
Assuming they go off in a normal kind of setting where they go off to college and don't stay at home.
Yeah.
If they stay at home, it's essentially a continuation of high school for the mom.
That's very interesting. I never thought about that.
Which is, by the way, my personal opinion, detrimental to the children's development.
Right.
You can't raise kids to be productive members of society and productive adults if you baby them through their 20s.
Interesting.
It's my little soapbox moment.
I know. Do you think that there's certain times where kids aren't mature enough to like leave at 18, that they might need a year or two at home?
Oh, I absolutely think that. I'm not suggesting you kick the kids out and fail at supporting your children, but there's a real danger to coddling them. They still, even if they live at home after 18, they need to have responsibility.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Because otherwise they might as well be 14. You've got an eternal toddler. It's not healthy.
And that's a good, even though we've been doing business since 5 a.m., that moms are moms. Yeah. First, you talk to any boss babe and you go, tell me about, what do you do for a living? Well, first, I'm a mom. You will always hear that. I've never actually heard a woman at any level of professional success not answer first I'm a mom, then I'm an attorney.
Yeah.
First I'm a mom, then I'm a CEO.
Right.
99.9%. I've never heard one.
And yet the boss babe will also put the job ahead of the kids 9 times out of 10 to the detriment of the family.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem and the biggest reason to not allow this kind of thing. And I use allow very loosely, but allow this kind of thing, this kind of boss babe behavior to take too much hold if you're dating or married to someone, because the job, the career, the clients will not remember her name if she stops doing it.
Nope.
But not having that mother and your wife at home to nurture the family is detrimental for generations. It has such a ripple effect. It's as dangerous as not getting enough sleep. It's as dangerous as not eating good foods. It's bad for the health of the family unit for generations, for a mother not to be in her most proper created for role.
And a lot of guys, if you're listening to this and you're 23 and you don't really deal with this that much, and you've made it this far.
Yeah.
If
you're still listening.
Not all, but some of our podcasts are about female nature. Mm-hmm. Because that way you can just get it. The more you know about women, the less you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
And you'll better understand all the dynamics that are going on when they're doing things that make no sense to us, but especially for your average dude that has no insight. But women want to be around men that just get it. You know, and you understand women who work, you understand women that are moms having to balance working kids. Mm-hmm. And the more you know, the better you can come off as that guy. Especially, it's mostly just silence instead of confusion and her going, man, this guy just does not get it.
Yeah.
And that makes you kind of like a guy that doesn't know how to do anything when it comes to women.
Right.
But the more you know and the more you can just kind of like, yeah, I got it. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And you're not confused. You know, they go, oh, I can relax around him. You know, so you want to be a guy that just gets it. No, understanding women and boss babes and women in business and how it actually really works goes a long way to like you going, I'm not going to be that concerned about it.
Right.
You know?
And I think the very best way to handle if you either are getting into a relationship with a boss babe, but primarily you're already married to a girl and she kind of gets a wild hair to start a business or something like that. Or she wants to get a job. She wants to go back to the workforce or whatnot. School.
Yeah, she wants to go back to school and then go.
But my point is, let her get a part-time job. Something that makes her feel, number one, like she's contributing. Number two, like she has something to do outside of the house. Because some women just start to feel stifled, especially in the world we live in now. They just feel stifled by being an at-home mom. They can't stand the thought of it. But if she does, I would say make very clear from the front end, I don't want this to distract from the family. I want you to feel like you're contributing and like you have something outside of the house to do, but we're going to keep this at a part-time job. And then everyone wins.
That's great.
Yeah. And, you know, that way also, if you were raised with a stay-at-home mom and you don't think that highly of them, because a lot of women don't. They don't think that highly of them because they think that their mom didn't do anything all day. She just watched her stories and folded laundry because everything got done while the kids were in school. They never saw the magic happen. And by magic, I mean the 12 hours of work that stay-at-home mom put in to make it look easy.
Because they're up before the kids.
Yeah.
They're up all day. Then they go to bed after the kids are down.
Right.
And the husband.
So if she has a bad attitude about stay-at-home moms and thinks they're kind of worthless, then part-time job. Perfect solution.
Perfect. If you guys like this podcast, like it, share it, comment below.
Yes.
You know, if your mom worked outside the house and, you know, how you felt. I mean, a lot of people look back and they're like, I didn't notice.
Right.
You know.
Which is the ideal scenario.
That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
Your mom did it right.
Yeah, it's true. We want you to win. Bye.